Morning, welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. Here we are going to clean this driveway this morning. This is going to be a pretty tough job actually. Quite mossy, it's quite dirty, and the thing is with the blocks here, the shape of the blocks, they're quite curved, so the gaps in between are quite large, which means when you come to clean it you end up washing away quite a lot of the sand from in between the blocks. So when you come to re-sand it, you need to replace a lot of that sand, and shifting the muck and dirt in the cleaning process can be quite tough going as well. You see it's quite bad with black spots, and lichen spots as well are quite bad. So I thought I'd show you how we get on. I'll talk you through the process and we'll see what sort of results we can get. Filling up the bin with water. The machine then draws water from the bin, so you're not reliant on pressure from the tap. Use a flat surface cleaner first. 2 jets. I'm going to cover the surface of the area nice and evenly. Then we've got various gums we're going to use to go around the edges and rinse and get a good result, hopefully. So yeah, there we go. Quite a mucky one as I thought. Don't know if you can tell there, but I've gone over it really nice and slow with the flat surface cleaner. I've gone back and forth over some bits that were really mossy just to make sure I get rid of that moss from between the blocks. I've overlapped quite heavily each row as I've gone down as well, just to make sure I'm extra thorough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to sweep up the worst of the muck, get rid of as much as I can, then rinse it. Then we'll be able to see a bit better what we've achieved so far. worst of it there. It's a decent warm day, the sun's come out a bit, so a lot of that mess is quite dry now. So I've got rid of a lot of that dry waste in the garden waste bin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around some of the edges here, like up by the garage, round the well here where I couldn't get right to the edge with the flat surface cleaner. Give the whole thing a rinse down, and we'll see what it looks like. There we go, it's looking a lot better now. It's just had a quick rinse, not overly thorough. Let me show you up close so you can see the blocks are obviously looking a lot cleaner, but in some places there's still some of these spots as well. So what I'm going to do is treat it with a chemical. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So this is sodium hypochlorite, or SH hypo. I've just added to this 25 litre barrel, I've just added 500 ml of soft wash surfactant. What that does is that'll actually help the sodium hypochlorite stick to the surface a little bit better. So what I actually find is that you'll end up using less chemical, and it'll be more effective, it'll go a bit further, that kind of thing. So that really makes a difference, especially on any upright surfaces as well, if you're treating walls and things like that. Now to apply it, I'm going to use this nozzle here. I wish I could tell you what this is, but I can't remember where it came from or what it's called. But what that does is I just put the tube straight in the barrel, and the water comes from the pressure washer, and it just kind of mixes in the nozzle, sprays out a mix of solution onto the surface. I'm using this because this will be a really quick, easy way to treat a large area like this. But what I find is it will be quite a weak solution. What I would recommend you use is something called an Xjet. I'll put a link in the description, but what an Xjet does, it works in a very similar way, but it has a nozzle insert inside, which allows you to actually have some control over the strength of the solution that it's actually mixing it in the nozzle. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to apply the chemical across the whole surface using that. That'll get rid of some of these black algae spots and lichen as well. That'll help get rid of those. And some of the areas where it's really bad, I'll just put some in a watering can, and I'll water it on to some of those specific areas. So that'll end up being a much stronger mix in those specific areas. There we go, that's sat there for a good 15-20 minutes or so. So I'm going to rinse away all the chemical now. This gun that I'm using here for the rinse, this twin nozzle, this has got actually a 15-degree fan nozzle there, and then a much wider soft nozzle next to it, and it kind of switches between the two as you turn the handle. So it's really great for rinsing. It means you can rinse more softly some areas like the garage doors, stuff like that, and then you can turn it up for a harder rinse with the fan nozzle when you're trying to get rid of all that muck. Once I've rinsed the chemical away, if there are any bits that I see that I need to go back and just give them a go with the lance here, I can just go back and give them a quick blast, just to tidy those bits up. The other gun I was using around the edges, the turbo lance, don't want to use that too much on a surface like this because you really get into the sand and disturb a lot of sand from between the blocks. So I just used that as little as possible around the edges, just really good for getting in around those edges. But yeah, it's looking really good now. Let's get it all rinsed. For that I'm using a soft bristled broom and using kiln dry sand that goes back into the blocks. If you notice, when I'm doing the rinsing, I try and kind of rinse across the surface of the paving. I don't want to wash too much sand out from between the blocks. That applies for any driveway, any block paved driveway that I'm rinsing. I always try and skim across the surface as much as possible, rinse what's off of the surface but not what's between the blocks too much. The more muck you rinse away from between the blocks, the more sand you've got to replace afterwards. So that's all the more difficult here because the gaps are so big between the blocks. So this driveway, there's been a lot of sand to replace. I've used maybe, I think must have used about 8 or 9 bags on this drive. I mean, usually I'd probably I expect to use 4 or 5 on a driveway like this. And it goes out onto the road a little bit past where I've been filming as well. I try and use the brush and brush at an angle across the blocks so that I don't brush too much sand out from between the blocks. You could use a leaf blower. I've seen people using a leaf blower, but I think on this driveway it would just blow the sand out from between the blocks because the gap is so big. So there we go. It's pretty tough going, this job, to be honest, but the results are really good. It's quite a dramatic colour change, so it was worth the effort. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Check out the playlists on my channel, don't forget, and catch up with you guys again soon.